The President of the United States playing hardball with the Chinese tonight, making good on his threat to raise tariffs to 25% on Chinese goods coming to the United States of America. This comes on the heels of some 25% tariffs already being charged and could soon be followed by even more tariffs. Got it, China? This fresh round of tariffs is being enacted on Friday this week because, according to U.S. negotiators, the Chinese reneged on promises that they had made to us. Here we are negotiating in good faith. They are not. So here's the deal. If China continues to play around like this, refusing to keep up its end of the bargain, then we engage in retaliation. We can make China's life much harder economically, I promise you that, than they can make ours. We're their #1 customer. #1 customer, having bought more than $500 billion worth of goods from them just in the last year alone. That's more than twice the amount that they buy from us. So they need us. We support their economy. And the bottom line here is China needs us more than we need them. So if they intend to engage in economic warfare, and that's exactly what they're doing, then they should just remember, right now, we win that fight. And tariffs are a weapon that the president tells me he's not afraid to use. Okay, they're negotiating. And where does this go? Do you think you're able to get them to stop stealing our intellectual property? Because, look, that's ours.
Sure. I mean, look, it's a very major part of our deal.
Would you trade that? I mean, with tariffs? And I know I got to let you go because you got a country to run.
I'm a person that believes in tariffs when somebody's taking advantage. If I wasn't able to use tariffs, I found these really great, very old laws that haven't been used in a long time. Had I not had the power of tariffs, and I can sign them myself, had I not had that power, we wouldn't be having great deals.
Tariffs are a weapon. I'll tell you, this is an example of a president doing exactly what a president should do. He is looking to protect our economy. Remember, American businesses, they're not so incentivized to cut trade with China. Why should they? I mean, they're too desperate trying to prove to shareholders every single quarter that they're very active in that very important market. Heck, they even surrender willingly their intellectual property to the Chinese, all because they want the opportunity to access 1 billion people in that market. So this, folks, is where government must step in. I mean, I'm a small government, live free or die kind of girl, but you need government, and you need them to protect us and protect our future and our children's future. We have all the leverage right now, all the economic leverage. We are still the biggest economy. But when you look at China's growth trajectory, we may not hold that space for long. So raising tariffs on China this Friday, I say good, do it, and keep on raising them.
A recent commentary on Fox Business Network, which is part of the #1 news channel in America and the most influential cheerleader of White House policies, unsurprisingly embraced the U.S. government's economic war with China. But the harshly worded piece, which aired during prime time on May the 14th, also took matters one step further. Host Trish Regan branded the U.S. trade imbalance with China as a weapon which the U.S. must use against China. Beyond claiming that China continues to prosper at our expense, Regan blamed 3 times the Chinese for stealing billions from the Americans. According to her, we don't really have a choice but to wage this war. Words have consequences. Her economic warmongering reaches millions of Americans in their homes and possibly many others around the world. And given the close, almost symbiotic relationship that the Fox channel has with the current U.S. administration, it's fair to say she also speaks for Trump's America. She portrays America as the real victim here, implying that previous U.S. administrations were somehow suckered by the scheming Chinese. She's so sure of U.S. victimhood, so indignant, that her eyes practically spit fire. If you were an American who didn't know any better, you too might clench your fists and pound the wall. Yet, in carefully analyzing her words, it's all emotion and accusation supported with little substance. One figure upon which she bases her argument is that alleged Chinese intellectual property theft deprives the American economy of $600 billion annually. That number, also cited by other mainstream U.S. media like CNN, comes from a 2017 report of the Commission on the Theft of American IP, produced by the National Bureau of Asian Research, a non-profit U.S. organization. Those are only their estimates, yet to be verified independently. And how do you define theft? According to whom? Even then, she misidentified this figure. The report actually says the total low-end value of the annual cost of IP theft to the U.S. economy may be as high as $600 billion. Overall, it's not referring to China, but the whole world combined. So, dear Trish, perhaps you need a better research team. Watching her commentary, though, it makes me realize if the U.S. side approaches these trade talks with such bigotry and hostility, they'll lead nowhere. The kind of language being used against China has been derogatory, to say the least. War, weapons, stealing, even that our country is raping their economy. By the way, how do you rape an economy? This is not the language of a trade partner, but the insults you might hurl at an enemy. China has tried to hold its head high and refrain from such uncivil language, but it doesn't seem to make a difference. The U.S. side did not hesitate to brandish the weapon and slap higher tariffs on China. Now, 1 year after the trade frictions first erupted, China itself is finally calling this a trade war. Can you negotiate with people who cross the line of decency? I don't think so. When they issue unreasonable demands, compounded by virtually pointing a gun at your head, in this case, of course, tariffs, even if you wanted to engage, you simply can't. The U.S. now admits or even brags about this approach. On May the 19th, in an interview broadcast on Fox, yes, that same channel, President Trump said he told Chinese President Xi Jinping, don't expect a 50-50 deal. It has to be a deal in favor of America. Well, this is the 21st century. The days when you could arm twist a country to accept unequal treaties ended long ago. The Chinese people rejected such treaties back then and will do so today as well. For people like Trish Regan or anyone else who thinks that economics should be weaponized against China, they'll be disappointed. Two can play at that game. Nevertheless, China will remain the adult in the room. Unless the U.S. side returns to civility and treats China as an equal, it's impossible to pursue productive trade talks.
Tonight, in response to the United States putting Chinese telecom and software companies on notice, the Chinese are launching a full-scale information war against the United States of America and their newest target, me. Yeah, me. Because I have dared to say we should engage in economic warfare with the financial tools we have. And, you know, maybe they didn't like the fact that Steve Bannon, the man whom they have accused of being the true enemy of America, on this program.
I think this is the first time, I think in living memory, they've ever gone after a private citizen. It shows you how nervous they are.
They must be really, really nervous because tonight they're hitting me. Now, interestingly, the Chinese state media, they say Bannon is an enemy while they accuse me of just not knowing my research, which China, I do.
She's so sure of U.S. victimhood, so indignant that her eyes practically spit fire. Yet, in carefully analyzing her words, it's all emotion and accusation supported with a little substance.
Okay, for the record, any emotion you see is quite real. It's quite real and it comes from substance. But hey, I guess to the Chinese state-run media, I get it. I'm just a girl, right? I'm just an American girl. So I clearly couldn't know what I'm talking about, right? Of course, I must be all emotion and no substance. Okay, China, here's a little insight into how we American women think. We're damn smart, and we will willingly respond with emotion when presented with a set of facts like this. And let's go through them. China's economic ascent. Look at that GDP chart. Look at it. It's amazing. To make world markets more fair. Fair for us. We deserve it. And yeah, the Chinese are stealing from us. They're stealing intellectual property. You know that they're stealing as much as $600 billion a year. That is a fact, and that is a lot of money.
As high as $600 billion US. Overall, is not referring to China, but the whole world combined. So, dear Trish, perhaps you need a better research team.
But worse than the annual effect, I'll tell you, is the long-term one. If we keep allowing them to poach what we have created, when does it stop? Right? Does it stop when the tables are reversed? When they've taken everything we have? China, listen up. You've picked the wrong fight here. Play fair, trade fair, or don't trade at all. And this week, a state media news presenter named Liu Xin launched a personal attack on me. Watch.
She's so sure of U.S. victimhood, so indignant that her eyes practically spit fire. If you were an American who didn't know any better, you too might clench your fists and pound the wall.
Wow. My eyes? They spit fire? My fists? Oh, dear. Not quite. But you know what? I'm going to take it as a compliment. She says I'm emotional. Yeah, I get a little emotional. I'm proud to show my emotion when I'm confronted with a reality that will be bad for Americans. But hey, the truth hurts, right? Watch how this woman, Ms. Xin, hates to hear the truth about how much the Chinese Communist Party steals.
One figure upon which she bases her argument is that alleged Chinese intellectual property theft deprives the American economy of $600 billion US annually. And how do you define theft? According to whom? So, dear Trish, perhaps you need a better research team.
Dear Liu Xin, my research team is the best in the business.
Even then, she misidentified this figure. The report actually says the total low-end value of the annual cost of IP theft to the U.S. economy may be as high as $600 billion US. Overall, is not referring to China, but the whole world combined.
According to the DOJ, 2 Chinese nationals, they were accused of coordinating with Chinese state security officials in an extensive hacking campaign, allegedly infiltrating 45 U.S. companies and government agencies, as well as more firms in more than a dozen countries. The hackers stole information from companies in all kinds of industries, including banking and finance, telecommunications, biotechnology, automotive, and health. So, okay, yeah, Liu Xin. I'd call that stealing. What do you call it? Meanwhile, the Chinese Communist Party seems to be trying to send a message with this.
Can you negotiate with people who cross the line of decency? I don't think so. When they issue unreasonable demands, compounded by virtually pointing a gun at your head, in this case, of course, tariffs, even if you wanted to engage, you simply can't.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's not that hard. Don't overcomplicate it. All the U.S. is asking for is free, fair trade. I would like to invite you to have an honest, live debate with me. A real discussion. You name the time. You can name the place, someplace neutral outside of China or the U.S., and consider this an invitation, Ms. Xin. I very much look forward to your reply.